Oh, I know, I know, I know. I'm gonna be cool, chabere. I know, I know, I know. Hey, I'm gonna be cool, chabere. Okay, very happy to see you. As usual, we're gonna thank Hashem that we're here, and I have to thank you, all of you, Baruch Hashem, that you're here and listening. That's the best thing to do on Sunday morning to start the week with Torah, Bezrat Hashem. I want to wish you all the best and only good news, Bezrat Hashem. So, as you know, yesterday we finished the first book of the five books of Moses. You know, as you know, I don't know if everybody knows, we have Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. So, yesterday we finished the first book, which is Exodus. And the last Torah portion was Vayechi. Vayechi means that Yaakov lived. So what does it mean? Why we need to know that he lived so many years? They say he lived 17 years in Egypt. So now, as you remember, we mentioned it a couple of times. Uh, Jacob loved Joseph the most of all the 13 kids that he had. He had 12 boys and one daughter. Where there's another holding that he had more kids, I mean more daughters, but boys, 12 and Dinah, that mentioned in the Torah. Anyway, so he loved Joseph the most, and we know that when Joseph was 17 years old, Jacob sent him to the brothers to check on them. And after that, we know exactly what happened, that, he was sold to the Egyptian, whatever. So the first 17 years, Jacob, the father of Joseph, took care of him. He loved him. That was the best time of his life, this 17 years. After that, he was devastated because Joseph disappeared. And then we know that Joseph revealed himself when he was in Egypt, and he asked his father to come to Egypt. At that time, Joseph was the ruler. He was a king. So Jacob came down to Egypt, and he lived with Joseph for 17 years. So some commentaries said the first 17 years Jacob took care of Joseph, his son, and then the last 17 years that Jacob lived, Joseph took care of his father. Now, those 17, the beginning 17 years and the end of 17 years, it's 34 years altogether, 34 years. And the numerical order of the first word in the Torah portion, in the Vayechi, means 34 years, or 34 years, that they were the best years of Jacob with his son Joseph. There's another example of best year that another person lived, and it's about Sarah. The first word of Chaye Sarah, Vayu Chaye Sarah, the life of time, the years of Sarah were 37 years, the best years of her life. She lived 127 years, but 37 years were the best time of her life. Why? Because when she was 90, she had Isaac, and he lived 37 years, and that was the best time of her life. So just to show everything is connected, every word in the Torah has a meaning and a point. Okay, as you know, the first Chumash of the that we just finished, the first two chapters talking about the creation. But then from the third chapter, which is Lech Lecha, when Hashem told Abraham to leave everything behind and to start a new life, this is the beginning of Judaism and the beginning of monotheism. Abraham was the first man on earth at that time to believe in one God. Everybody was against him, but he was strong and persistent, and he stayed with Hashem. He believed in Hashem 100% with all the tests that he had to go through, and that's why Hashem loved him. And we know from Abraham, as in Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and all the mothers, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel and Leah, and from them came the 12 tribes. And now, after we know the beginning of Judaism, and this is a must uh, information that we need to know. Every Jew must know this chapter, this book of the Jewish history. And of course, after that, we continue with that. However, this is the beginning. And now we see after Jacob died and after the 12 tribes died also, we're going to start the beginning, the slavery that in Egypt. So the next book, which is Exodus, talks about the slavery and the redemption by Moshe Rabbeinu. But before we're going to continue that next week, Be'ezrat Hashem, I just want to tell you something about why this week is so important to me. Okay, why this week is so important to me. He said Parashat Vayechi means to live. And this week, my father, may he rest in peace, passed away in 1999, the same, of course, same Torah portion. And there was something very interesting that it says in the Torah portion here, that it says that Jacob was very weak, but when Joseph came to visit him, to see him, it says, and I'm going to read it to you here, on chapter 48, verse 2. So Yaakov Avinu, they call him Israel, he made a big effort and sat up on the bed to see his son Joseph. See, at that time that my father was in hospital, he was very sick, and it was, the few moments of his life, and I was in America. So when I got there, it was unbelievable. I got there, and everybody thought that that's it before I came. But when he understood, I think he knew that I'm there, that I came. He got up. He got up to see me, and then he went back to. So it's unbelievable. The same sentence. Well, Yosef Tzaddik was Tzaddik. Yaakov was Yaakov Tzaddik. That we're talking about big, major people. I'm not trying to compare myself to them. I'm just saying the incident, it was unbelievable that it happened. Now, what happens when so this week, on Wednesday, we call it in the Jewish tradition, it's the once in a year that we have to commemorate the name and the memory of the people that passed away in our family, especially the parents. In Judaism, when a parent pass away, the children have to really be in mourning for 12 months. Now, there's different type and different level of mourning. The first 3 days after the parent pass away, the children have to be in extreme mourning time, which means not talking to people, not shaking hands, not to be involved with anything, just sitting on the floor and be really very sad. Then they have 7 days that they still stay home, but they can talk and be involved with negotiating some family business at home. Then we have 30 days that it's less severe. People can go out, come, do some business. And then for the whole year, we have to avoid any type of happiness and joys or whatever. We have to avoid any kind of trips, just to be very, not sad, but to remember the parents. And of course, to go to synagogue 3 times a day to say Kaddish, very important. And of course, to be engaged with Torah study. So now, in the 10 Commandments, it says, the 5th commandment is say that we have to respect the parents, right? Now, it's not only when they're alive, we have to respect them also when they passed away. Now, how do you respect somebody that passed away? In the case of parents, of course, you have to do a lot of charity and Torah studying. The Torah that you do for the parents, they elevate their soul in a higher level in heaven. So the more you do for them, of course, it will put them in a better situation. That's why every Jewish parents, they want a son. Not they have anything against their daughter, but they need a son because they can say Kaddish and study Torah for them after they pass away. A daughter is not obligated. However, if parents don't have son and have only daughters, then it's the obligation of the daughters to find somebody or to pay somebody to study Torah for the parents or to be engaged with tzedakot and charity. It's very, very important. So, so this way we can respect the parents forever. So one day, this woman came to a rabbi and asking, Rabbi, um, her husband passed away 20 years ago. Should I stop be mourning? I mean, once a year, this thing, whatever. And he said, yes, you have to do till the end of the days, till 120 years. You must do whatever you can do for your husband, of course, the children too. Now, what do we do? Let's say this week I have to commemorate this day. So the custom is that we sponsor either dinner or lunch, in order for the people to come and not only eat and enjoy, but to say blessings. So every blessing that people come and say, that goes for the merit of the person that passed away. So it's everybody does it. Some people do it small things, some do big things, and it depends. Every family, whatever the custom to do. So that's basically the idea. So now in the Torah, it says that the whole Jewish people, the whole nation, they were mourning for Moshe Rabbeinu for 30 days. So when we have a person like Moshe Rabbeinu, the whole nation should mourn for him for 30 days. But, you know, it's different with the family members. Just to let a quick idea, I mentioned that for parents, we have to mourn for 12 months, but other siblings, it's only for 30 days. More details we can do a different class, just to give you a general idea what we're talking about, because Yaakov is just passed away, and my father, you know, at the same time, Baruch Hashem. So that's why I mentioned that. Okay, you know, when Yaakov asked Yosef to come to see him, and Yosef came with his two children, and Yaakov blessed them, and I think everybody knows the story that Yaakov switched the hands on the head of the kids. He went like this instead of going like this. He went like this. Okay. Yosef did not like it, but Yaakov said, "Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. It's okay." Now, and he blessed them, and the question is why, you know, every Friday night, it's very known custom that every father blesses his children with the same blessing here, that it says, Simcha Elokim ke Ephraim Menashe. May Hashem will, you know, make you and to be like Ephraim and Menashe. It's very important. Now the question is, why Ephraim and Menashe? We have Abraham, we have Isaac, we have Moshe Rabbeinu, we have Aharon. How come the whole Jewish nation does this blessing every Friday night for years since then? So just to give a few ideas, it says that Ephraim and Menashe, and of course the parents, the Joseph and Osnat, they were the only Jews in Egypt. Can you imagine that? The only Jews in Egypt that kept their identity. They did not change at all. They knew that they are Jews, and they kept it this way. Not only that, when Yaakov switched his hands and he gave the first blessing to the young boy and said to the older boy, It says that there were no jealousy among them. They accepted, they loved it, and they did not have any problem with that. To show us that we have to behave the same way in a family, to have love, no jealousy, and no fighting and no whatever. That's the best thing to do is to have unity in the family, even though we think sometimes that the parents wrong. But the kids don't know that they're always wrong, not the parents. But to keep this kind of peace and love among the family. So now Yosef, Yaakov Avinu, he asked Yosef to come and promise him. As a matter of fact, he swore. He made him swear. Yaakov made Yosef to swear to him that he will take care of his all his. He has to take him to the Holy Land and to bury him there. The whole idea of that, because the Egyptian, they wanted Yaakov to be buried in Egypt. Why? Because he brought so much blessing to the Egyptian, and they wanted to be buried. But Yaakov knew that this is a very bad idea. So he called Joseph, and he made him promise and swear that he will take him to the Holy Land to be buried in Hebron, in Me'arat HaMachpelah. We spoke about it many times in the past. If you go to Israel, you must go to this place, Me'arat HaMachpelah, in Hebron. Of course, you have to go to Jerusalem first to see the Western Wall. And of course, Bethlehem is on the way to Hebron. So you stop in Bethlehem first, you visit Rachel, okay, you get a blessing from there. Then you go to Hebron to get blessing for all the big fathers and mothers that we have in our history. So now Yosef made sure that he will take care of his father, and that's what he did. However, he had some problem with Pharaoh. I think we mentioned that too also, that Pharaoh did not want him to go and to leave the kingdom, without Joseph. So Yosef told Pharaoh, listen, I swore to my father that I'm going to do it for him. So he said, go there and break the swear, tell them that you cannot do that. So remember that I told you before that Yosef and Pharaoh had to swear that Yosef will not reveal the secret that he knows more languages than Pharaoh. That's why he got this position. And so Yosef told Pharaoh, listen, if I'll break the swear to my father, I have to break the swear that I did for you. And I'm going to tell everybody that I know better than you. And I'm going to be the king, and you're going to go to, to Florida. So, so Pharaoh knew that he cannot do that. And therefore he said, okay, go take care of your father. It's very important. I'm not going to argue with this at all. Be'ezrat Hashem. So that's what happens. And Yosef not only took his father and his family, it says that he went there with a lot of soldiers and army and whatever. It was like making a funeral to a king. Okay? That's what happened. And then not only he took him there, he took him to Hebron, and he buried him over there. And as you know, in Hebron, we mentioned that also, just to refresh the memory. Over there, they were buried Adam and Eve, Sarah and Abraham, Isaac and Rebekah, and then was Leah there. Not Rachel, was Leah. And then Yaakov was buried next to Leah. There was a story that Esau, the brother of Jacob, he showed up in this place in Me'arat HaMachpelah, and he says, oh, wait a second, we are twins. Who said that Jacob has a right to be buried here? So they had an argument between the 12 tribes and Esau, They didn't know what's going on. The the body of Jacob is laying on the floor, and people are arguing. There was a grandson over there that he was deaf, and he didn't know what's going on, but he understood that it's not respect for the grandfather to be laid like this, and people arguing. He didn't understand what's going on, but he knew that this man, a wicked man, is arguing with all his uncles. So they said he took a sword and he chopped his head off of Esau. And that's what happened, that he said that the head of Esau is in Meharat al-Machpelah, but the body is up. And if you remember, Rebecca said, I don't want to lose you, my my two sons, the twins, in one day. But theoretically, it is like one day that she lost both of them. Yeah, yeah. Jacob was there, dead, and Esau was there, dead. But they basically were not. They did not die in one day. But the idea, theoretically, that she lost them almost in the same day. So Bezat Hashem now, when we see, uh, so they buried him, they finished the whole thing, and they came back to Egypt. And it says, oh, as long as Yaakov and the 12 tribes were in Egypt, the Egyptian respected them. And they knew that they're doing good for the country. However, it says that when Jacob passed away and then the 12 tribes, as I think I mentioned, that Yosef lost 10 years of his life because he did not um, say anything when he heard Judah, his brother, telling him that Jacob, your servant, my father, he said, Judah said to Yosef when they were arguing about Benjamin. Judah told Joseph that my father, your servant, will get hurt if Benjamin will stay here. So he used this term, my father, your servant. And Joseph heard that he knew who was the father, was Jacob. How can Jacob be my servant? And he didn't say anything. Not only that, he pretended that he doesn't know Hebrew. So the translator has to translate to Egyptian. So he heard it 10 times. 10 times he heard, my father Jacob is your servant. And he didn't say anything. So he was punished for 10 years of his life. That's just an idea. Okay, so now this chapter of the Jewish history was finished. When you see from Abraham all the way to the 12 tribes, that one chapter of the Jewish history is finished, is over. Now we're going to start a new chapter. When all the tribes passed away, it says that the Egyptians changed their attitude toward the Jewish people. And next week, Bezat Hashem, we're going to start the new book of Shemot, which is Exodus. It says that all of a sudden, they, from good friends and buddies, whatever, and as a respect to the Jews, they became to be the enemy, and they made them to be slaves. And that's how we're going to start the new next week, Bezat Hashem, the second chapter of the Jewish history, the slavery and the redemption, Bezat Hashem. So these two books of Genesis and Exodus, these are the foundation and the pillars for everybody that wants to know about Judaism. You can't learn about Judaism without knowing the beginning of the Jewish people. And of course, later on, we have more information and more ideas till we get today here in the Holy Land. And what are we doing in America or in Argentina? This is a good question. Okay, Bezat Hashem. So now we're going to finish with this. And Bezat Hashem, if you have any questions, I'll try to answer.
Rabbi, how you
Yes.
doing? Shalom Aleichem.
Thank you.
First of all, thank you for the story about your late father. I really feel what you're saying because that's what I experienced recently with my own father, because of
Right.
his illness. Um, I was reading a very interesting book by Spiel Diamond. I don't know if you ever heard of her.
Kind of.
But she was discussing, well, it was written by someone else, but it's her ideas about Menashe and Ephraim and Menashe, one signifying fear of Hashem and the other one signifying love for Hashem, and that's why Jacob placed his right hand on the younger boy and his left hand on top in Menashe. Eh, With that,
Excellent, excellent. Uh, there are 70 different ways to explain everything. We did only three. Uh, I mean, I can find more if you're interested, and mention it next time. But yeah, you're right. That's true. That is true. Absolutely. Good point.
and by the way, I actually the night before last and yesterday I was practicing Borer, uh, getting because I was eating in that time sardines, so I was picking with a spoon to get a little bit of the solet, you know. So it was trying, but I think it did very well.
Okay, Baruch Hashem. Good job. Okay.
Okay, somebody's asking when their work has a gathering and you're expected to attend, what guidance can you give regarding attendance and appropriate behavior at these events? Like if your workplace has probably like maybe some type of gathering and you don't really want to go, but because of what goes on there.
Oh, there's a question here: to attend or not to attend a gathering that you think that it's not, let's say, appropriate from some
No,
reason.
but the company's making them attend.
Oh, but the company is making you to come to us. Oh, that's a big issue. Okay, it depends what is the details. Okay, if somebody tells, if a boss tells you, listen, on Shabbat you have to come, of course, right into to the to the job because we have a meeting to tell you about new ideas. You say, excuse me, sir, I don't drive on Shabbat. I cannot go and come to this meeting. So they're going to tell you, you're fired. They say, okay, thank you, no problem. I'm fired. Okay. Now, if it happens all the time, if the people, the Jews are serious, they will tell the boss, I'm sorry. But if they have a meeting on Wednesday and the meeting is anti-Jews, anti-Semitism, anti-Israel, whatever. Now, first of all, if you're religious, you check with your rabbi what to do. He might tell you go there and give your opinion. And he might tell you, you know what, stay away. It's not, it's dangerous and dangerous to your life. Don't go. So it depends on the circumstances but if it's something not serious, it's something not that will not create any damage or any negative things, then go there to see what's the problem. If you think that it's not right, then leave the place as much as you can, I mean, as fast as you can. But it depends on the circumstances.
How do you avoid all the immodesty?
Now, this is not, another story is, let's say the boss has a wedding, okay, and you are religious and you know that all you're going to see there is immodesty, okay. What do you do now? It's not good for Jewish men or Jewish women also, more so for men. What you can do, some people recommend that, to go to the father, which is the boss, and say, Mazel Tov, here's a check, see you tomorrow at work. That's it. Some people will be more extreme, and they're going to care less. They will, call or something and say, I'm sorry, I can't come. Or even ahead of time, they will tell, I don't know if it's, you can lie or cannot lie, but you have to create another situation that you have to be someplace else. And you can say, I'm sorry, I have something else to do. But it's a true, not false, not to say a lie. To say that I have another meeting at that time and I cannot come, to try to avoid it. I don't think that the boss will fire the person that didn't come to the wedding or to the event because of that. Now, some some bosses, you'll be surprised, Jews or not Jews. If you come and tell them, I'm sorry, I cannot attend this kind of, most of them will understand, and they will not make it a big deal. Most of them, but it's a risk. Okay, okay. More questions? Okay, no more questions. So I wish you all the best. Be well, be happy, and as we say always, we'll see you next Sunday unless the Mashiach will come this week. So, Bezat Hashem, I wish you all the best.